Welcome to the Ardan Labs Podcast. Our special guest today is Facundo Giuliani. See, I'm half Sicilian, Facundo, so you would think I could say this name. I think I said it pretty good without any real struggle.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, you said it right, and that's good to hear. Well, actually, I mean, my grandparents were from the south of Italy too, so yeah, it looks like probably we have some relatives there.
Yeah, my my grandmother was from Shaka in Sicily. My grandfather was called Patanigu. It was like a small town outside of Palermo. I got
Oh,
to
wow.
go there one time. It was cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, I live in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and right now it's winter here. We are having the coldest days of the year. So when I see people from the company, you know, that they are taking time off in Italy or Greece, you know, and it's like I'm a little bit jealous, you know.
Yeah, no. I was just in Europe actually, though. It was
Oh, nice.
cold, but I live in Miami. There's a lot of Argentinians walking around here, so I
Yeah,
just
and not only that, by the way, I was in Miami last week.
oh,
I
there you
spent
go.
some days there.
Nice, man. I mean, I was in Europe last week, but yeah, no, it's good. Miami's a fun place.
Yeah, I spent a few days there, and actually, I was in Miami in it was March, no, April too, because of a developer conference, React Miami. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
I'm a back end Go developer, so I'm familiar, but I wouldn't dare step foot in that conference. I'm not a front end guy. Fuck, like I don't want nothing to do with the front end. Kevin, the producer, he's my front end dev, man. I
Oh,
stay
okay.
away from that stuff.
I mean, to be fair, the conference is really cool, and the vibe, let's say, it's really nice. It's true that probably if you go to the conference and you want to attend the talks, you might not relate it to what you are working on, or probably the topics are not super compelling to you. But it's a cool event, and it's very well organized, to be honest.
No, it's awesome. So this podcast is about you. Just if you can give everybody the 2 minute spiel on what you're doing today. Just today. Don't go into your history just yet. Just sort of stay focused on today.
Perfect, cool. Well, my name is Facundo Giuliani, and what I'm doing right now is managing a team of solutions engineers at Storyblok. Storyblok is a company and a product. Well, I mean, it's a company that created a product, which is a headless content management system, a platform to help technical and non-technical people to create and manage content and use that content in the best way or in the most efficient way for their different projects. That can be websites, mobile applications, desktop applications, etc.
That word headless always it's always interesting to me. How can you have a headless front end tool? Like what does that mean, headless?
Yeah, it's kind of a catchy word, I would say. Speaking about headless is similar to speaking about API first, you know, or something that is not tied to a particular presentation layer or a certain templating engine, let's say. Speaking about Storyblok in particular, I'm not sure if you're familiar with with what it's called legacy content management systems. I'm pretty sure you are, or probably you don't know them by that name, but platforms like WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, basically content management systems that have been in the industry for a long time and that have been used for many of the websites that we visit nowadays. Those are what they are called like traditional CMSs. The difference between a headless CMS and those traditional CMSs is that at a certain point, if you are creating a website using WordPress, Joomla, or Drupal, you need to adapt to the definitions of those platforms at the moment of creating the front end or the visual representation of the content that you are managing with the platform. Speaking about WordPress, for instance, you need to use their templates or their plugins, and you need to adapt, let's say, the design of the website that you are creating with WordPress to the definitions of the platform. With a headless content management system, what we are aiming is that you have a platform to create and manage the content easily, which has a simple, let's say, but also powerful user interface for the non-technical people to create and manage the content with multiple features and functionalities that we can describe later. But in the meantime, all that content that is being created and managed using the headless CMS can be distributed to the front end through APIs using like a standard format of content, which is in the case of Storyblok is an API that delivers content in JSON format. So you can use a JSON object in any front end with any technology. It can be a website, again, it can be a mobile application. I mean, JSON is an industry standard, so you can use the content that is created and managed using Storyblok for any project and in the way that you prefer, with the technology that you prefer and the framework that you prefer. So I would say that that's the main idea behind the headless concept.
It's a lot of flexibility in how you get the system to sort of render.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about the technical aspects, let's say, yes, the idea is to give the flexibility to the developers to use the content in the way that they prefer or in the way that it better adapt to their needs, let's say.
All right, cool. All right, we're going to get back to that, right? Because that's what you're doing today. It sounds cool. But now I got to put you in the time machine. So got two questions here we're going to start with. The first one is, what year was it when you graduated high school? And where were you? This is all the same question. So what year was it when you graduated high school, and where were you on the planet at that time?
I was in the same city that I live today, which is Buenos Aires, Argentina, in the suburbs, not in the city center. And the year was 2006.
2006. Okay. Now I want you to clear your mind. Don't think too hard. First memory pops in your head of you working on a computer.
Working, not using.
Yeah, doing something. Yeah, I mean, it could be a game, but like that first memorable experience you have getting your hands on a keyboard.
Yeah, I would say that it's when I was 9 years old.
All right, tell me about it.
Yeah, of course. I'm probably like people listening to this podcast will say like, what is this guy talking about, especially younger people. But at that time, well, it was the kind of machines that we had available were Pentium 1 or even older, like 386. The de facto, let's say, operational system was Windows 3.1 at that time. And well, my father he's an accountant, and he had this computer that he used for work. I mean, for work stuff. But I mean, I used to visit him at his office, and I used to use the computer while he was not using it. And I started, to investigate, to see how to use this system, the different configurations. I mean, from changing the icons or the background color of the desktop, let's say, to actually start using the terminal, start testing the different commands that were available. I mean, it's probably not needed to say this, but internet was not a thing at that time, so you didn't have the opportunity of Googling what you were doing or how to do what you wanted to do. So yeah, I mean, I started investigating, researching these commands, the possibilities that the computer was offering to me at that time with no goal at all, because I mean, I was 9 or 10 years old at that time. So I did that to learn more about how the computer works, let's say. And of course, in addition to that, playing games, computer games, which at that time you needed to install them. You needed to use this 3.5 inches disc to install them. And again, using the disc to play, and then understanding how the disc is working and what the disc is offering to me, so I can copy files and everything.
I'm shocked your dad lets you play on his work computer. Like,
yeah, well, I mean,
you weren't afraid of busting that thing up?
I mean, well, that's the thing. When my father saw that I was really interested into the topic, he said, okay, I'm going to buy a new computer for me and for work, so I can separate, the stuff. And I got that old computer for home. And well, I mean, like, to be completely honest, at that time, I spent a lot of time with the computer in my bedroom, playing and everything.
So two things. I'm going to interrupt you a lot here because there's too many things that pop in my head.
Please.
So you have no siblings. You're an only child?
No, I have a sister, like a small, younger sister.
Younger. So when the computer got in the house, your dad had no problem. I'm guessing you were maybe like 10 years old, having that in your room by yourself. Did you have dial-up at that point too?
No. I had dial-up when I was like 12 or something like that, 12, 13, I would say.
But
So,
you
I
would
mean,
never let, you wouldn't let a kid today have their own computer in their
no,
room
that's true.
without.
Well, I
Right.
mean, there is a discussion that needs to be, I mean, open with my parents, probably.
Yeah,
No,
no, wouldn't it be great to ask your father, Dad, you know, I was like 10 years old and you let me have this computer alone
yeah,
in my
yeah,
room. Like, you're like,
yeah, that's
what
true.
do you think? You know, like, it would be a fun conversation to have with him.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. I mean, at a certain point, I had discussions with my parents at that time because of the time that I was spending with the computer. I imagine that when they saw that, well, the school that I was going at that time and the high school, I don't know if it's exactly the same in the States, but in Argentina you have to pick, let's say, a path or a career. And at that time, the school that I was attended, they had this informatics like orientation that you were able to take, and there was no doubt that that was the one that I wanted to pick, right? So at a certain point when I was like 13, 14, 15, it was a mix between what I wanted to do or what I was learning to do, and like combining with the kind of knowledge that I was acquiring at school, right? At the end of the day, which at a certain point, I think that it shaped the what ended up being when I was older. I mean, my first job experience and
Yeah,
everything.
don't talk about your first job just yet.
No, of course,
I want to stay in high school here. But
high
what's
school.
interesting to me is you're spending more hours on the computer than you are outside playing. I mean, were you into sports, music, or anything else? Soccer or football?
Yeah.
Or anything else?
So I used to play football, I mean, South America, Argentina. You can imagine. Well, football. What I call football, what you call
Yeah,
soccer.
yeah, yeah. No,
No, I mean, to be fair, I also spent a lot of time outside playing with friends. I had some neighbors, and we were like many friends of my same age, so we spent a lot of time playing outside. But the thing is that the time that I was inside, it was in front of the computer. Like
were
I
you doing
barely leave
any?
my
Were
room.
you doing any programming, or was it more like, especially after you got dial-up? Were you doing any programming, or was it mostly games?
So I used to play. I mean, when I had that old machine in my bedroom, I formatted the computer just for fun to understand what I was doing, like the system. I wanted to understand how the system worked at that time. Um, but the thing is, when I started high school, one of the first subjects that I had was algorithm, which helped me to understand.
What programming language were they? Because that's interesting. You went into a high school specific for computer science, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, the funny thing, well, not the funny thing. I think that it was a good decision from the school, or I don't know who designed the subject topics. But we started learning algorithm like with pseudocode or with graphs. I mean, no specific programming language at that time. It was about the logic that was happening, and that at the end of the day helped me to jump and grab any programming language and apply the same logic that I learned from the algorithm, right? Having said that, the first language that we used at that time to start like testing this logic that we were learning with the algorithm was C, the
Mm,
programming language.
yeah. 2000. I mean, basically, your high school 2004 or 2002 through 2006, and
Yeah.
they're throwing C at you. I'm surprised they didn't use basic. Like they went pretty hardcore
No, so
early on.
actually, like there were two branches. Like we tested the algorithm, let's say using C, but there was another subject where we needed to create an actual application, and we used Visual Basic at that time. Visual
VB.
Basic,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, BV6 at that time. Yeah,
Yeah. That makes sense.
when I started using BV6 and seeing that I was able to create screens with buttons, with text box, an actual application that I was able to use at home, man, the time that I spent using that was insane. Because I think that it's okay to understand an algorithm and say like, yeah, okay, you can sum up these two numbers, or you can multiply this number by this number with an input and everything. But when you see a screen, you see like you are inputting data and you're using that data, you're storing it, you're generating something, it opened a new universe at that time.
So it sounds to me that as you get near graduation in 2006, you've already studied a decent amount about computer science, data. I guess there was no question you wanted to go to university to extend this. So,
Yeah.
so talk more about that. Like, what were your options for university? Did you have to take a big test to do that? How does that work in Argentina?
Yeah. Well, I mean, normally the kids when they are 17 or 18, you can like do a test and see what I would like to do or what I would be better, or things like that. I didn't do that. I had very clear what I wanted to do. I had it very clear that I wanted to study. I mean, my doubt at that time was which university to pick or where to study the career. The career was not a doubt, to be honest. I ended up studying on the National Technology University from Argentina, which is called National Technology University, like I decided to study at that time systems engineering, which was like programming, but in additional to programming, it was like all the I mean, thinking on organizing a project. I mean, the managerial aspects of the project, right? I mean, I don't want to get super long into the actual career, but it was more than programming, I mean, it was like thinking on a project, managing a project. But that's what I wanted to do, to be honest.
Were there any liberal art classes in this, or this was purely 4 years of heads down, like engineering?
Well, what do you mean? Probably
Like you
losing
took
track.
psychology and philosophy and
Yeah.
sociology. Were those are
No,
options?
no. Pure. I mean, it was engineering. What I can tell you is that the math subjects that I had were a lot, because I mean the career has like a common part of the program with other engineers, right? I mean, if you're studying electronics engineering or civil engineer, I'm not sure if that's the same name in the States, but
Yeah, civil. Yeah.
Civil, I mean, the people
Yeah.
that builds bridges, let's say, right?
Yeah. They do the traffic light analysis,
Traffic.
all that sort of stuff, right?
Chemistry engineering. So we had similar subjects with those careers, which I mean, we can have like a long discussion to see if you think that that's really related.
It's interesting to me because I've heard of these universities before where it's just heads down engineering, a lot of math, a lot like fairly intense. But when I meet somebody that did that sort of university track, I always wonder, and you can look back on it now, but do you feel like it would have been nice to have some liberal art classes, something in sociology, philosophy, anthropology, psychology? I think those things help sort of, make you a more well-rounded person. And some of it, I think, applies to engineering.
Yeah. Actually, I agree, and like I don't want to derail the chat, because at a certain point I imagine that we will discuss about this, but I mean, I was a developer for many years, and at a certain point I saw that I was missing the human part of engaging with the people, to talking to people, and like I think that the creativity that it's sparked when you are engaging with other people or doing other kind of things that are outside of actually coding, or actually managing a platform or a software or a website, is what it's opening your eyes to see beyond, what you need to do. I completely agree with that, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. These engineering schools need to have some form of teaching people how to be human beings beyond the math.
Which we are at the end of the day, right? I mean, you are like part of a society, a community. I mean, I don't know. We can go as how to say, as basic as having empathy for other people, to discussing the creativity that it's a spark when you are doing other kind of activities that can open your eyes to try something new, right? I mean,
well, it's a learned skill, like programming. Learning how to interact and compromise and communicate is a learned skill. Nobody has that at birth.
No, that's completely true. I had I don't know if it was the luck, let's say, or the chance, but probably because of how I am or who I am, I've always did different activities apart from university that helped me to connect with other people and do things from another aspect or another point of view besides being a programmer and generating code, right? And I think that at the end of the day, that's what helped me to manage the career that I had and the path that it took me to where I am now, which is I know developer. I mean, I'm a developer. I've been a developer, and I understand programming. And I understand about technology and different aspects. But I'm not a programmer. I mean, I'm not programming right now.
So in college, like in university, did you get any work there? Did they have the idea of internships? Were you getting any industry experience while you're also going to school?
So not as part of the university or not inside the university, but they had some kind of job listing, right? One thing that I knew when I was 18 years old and I started studying at college, I knew that if I wanted to buy things for me, I needed to work. I needed my money. I didn't want to ask my parents for money, right? And the only way
was the university free? Was university free?
It is. It's free a public university. Yeah.
And then housing isn't, but I assume you didn't live at home. You went and you got housing at university?
No. I mean, so it's a different approach here in Argentina compared to the States, I would say. I live in Buenos Aires, which is the most populated city of the country by far compared to any other city. We have other big cities in Argentina, but they don't compare to Buenos Aires. So I live in the center, I mean, where the action is happening. I was like 40 minutes away from the university where I was living, so I didn't need to move while studying. I never moved while studying.
So you still lived at home when you you basically commuted?
Yeah, I commuted to the university.
No, exactly. That's fair. So now, so that's good. You don't have any school debt. You're commuting, so you're getting a meal every night when you come home, which is always good. But you needed money, right?
And I have to thank my parents for that.
You never thought about moving out though, and being on your own at that time?
Well, I mean, I did it like a few years later. I mean, at that point, I was like, how to say? I was very focused on the university and the work. I mean, I started working 6 months after I left high school, and my first job was a developer job. So I was a developer since the beginning of my career, and in addition to that, I was doing I was following an intense rhythm at the university.
Because you're doing a full-time student, so you're a full-time student.
Yeah, I went to the university like from Monday to, I was going to say Friday, but we had other subjects happening on Saturday. And in addition to that, I had a part-time job. I was working 6 hours a day at an office for at that time it was a software factory was the name, but it's like an agency, a development agency working for multiple clients. So I was busy.
Yeah, you had no time to get in trouble.
No, of course.
But you had to party a little bit. You had to go out with your friends. You had to
But when you are 18 years old and 19 years old, the one thing that you can, let's say, cancel or you don't really need a lot is sleeping, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's true that the university and the work consumed a lot of time at that time. But Fridays, Thursday and Saturday, I was spending that time with friends, and it's true. I mean, at that time, I slept a very few hours a day, I would say. But again, you have the energy, right? You're a kid at that time.
Here at Ardan Labs, we believe in empowering companies to reach their full potential through innovative technology solutions. Trusted by small startups and Fortune 500 companies alike, we specialize in high-performance software consulting, training, staffing, development, and now AI. With over 14 years of experience, Ardan Labs has trained over 30,000 engineers and served over 1,000 companies worldwide. Whether you're mastering Go, Rust, Kubernetes, Terraform, or blockchain, we're your strategic partner for performance-grade solutions. Let's elevate your tech journey together. Reach out to Ardan Labs today.
But that's good, because that means throughout your time at university, you were also working. By the time you graduate university, that means you already have a job lined up.
4 years of experience as a developer I had at that time.
And then you graduate in like 2010. So do you go work full time for this company that you've been
So what I did was, well, that's fun. Because, well, this happened at that time globally, but it's very complicated to find a developer that spent more than a year or 2 years at the company, right? Or at least at that time when there were many options to pick, let's say. But the truth is that the company that I worked for at that time, they were really, really conscious about the time that I needed to study. They didn't have any issue with that. They really promoted me to continue studying and everything. And the truth is that I wanted to graduate. I wanted to finish the career, right? So I worked at that company for 5 years. So it was mainly my whole career at college. I was working for this same company. And what I told them was the day after I graduate, I will move to a full-time position at this company. So during 4 years or so, I worked like 6 hours a day, part-time with them while I was studying. When I finished the college, I moved to a full-time position as part of the same company.
Yeah, I mean, today I think it's really important today, if you're going to go to university, to make sure the university has these sort of intern. I mean, you did it on your own, you found the job, but these jobs are almost impossible to find today.
Yeah.
And if you could find universities that have the internships, that can turn into jobs. And I just feel like you need that today, especially in today's market.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, I had many doubts at that time, and probably today, if I look, in retrospective, of course that you always evaluate if you made the right decision at that time, right? But the truth is that I consider that while what the college is great and what you learn in college is something that you can't replace, when you jump to the real world and the real life, the things are way different, and you need to learn that too. You need to learn that.
I think what I try to tell people is especially today, you need the paper. You need to have gone to university today. You need that degree. There are things you're learning there, maybe academically in the math, that you're just not going to learn. That eventually comes back. But for me, what I try to tell young people is, what I want to see on a resume is that if you started something, you finished it.
Yeah.
That's sort of what I want to see. And so it's almost like, in my head, don't start university if you're unsure and have no real intention on finishing it, because that to me looks worse than if you hadn't gone at all.
Yeah. I see your point. And I mean, well, that's the other way around too, which is something that happened a lot at the time when I was studying, because there was a lot of demand of developers and technical positions, which is the person that is studying, and you study and you start working on at a company, and they pay you a decent salary, and then you start seeing that there's another company paying a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and you say, why would I invest like this amount of time studying if I can earn this money now? I mean, I can leave the college and start working at this company, earning all this money, which is a lot, right? Or a lot, or a good salary, But the thing is, I knew a lot of people that left college because they had a pretty good job, to be honest, but they decided to invest all the time on their jobs and leave the college, right? Again, we can have a longer discussion to evaluate or to see if that was a good decision or not. But my point is what you are saying. I mean, you proposed to finish college, and the first temptation that appeared, which is money, you said, okay, I won't study anymore. I don't know. I don't know.
For me, it's the degree becomes a safety net, because unless you are truly entrepreneurial and you quit university and you aspire to have a company and you're able to succeed, then you never have to worry about employment again, because you've
Yep.
created that employment for you.
Yep.
What gets scary is like the world we're in today, and especially as you get older, where maybe you just ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time. You lost the job. It wasn't due to cause, it was just due to life. And now you're competing against a bunch of kids
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
have a degree and you don't. And
Yeah.
it almost doesn't matter that you have more experience than them. In fact, maybe it hurts. It's just it's a safety net thing for me.
No,
Just like
of
I
course.
would say to you, as you move on to your career and you say to me, I'm not programming anymore, that programming is a safety net, because
Yeah. Yeah.
if the world bottoms out, you can always go back and sling code
Of course.
because you
of
have
course.
it. You don't want to lose that ever, I don't think.
No, of course. I fully agree. And what I do think is that, I mean, that you can be a developer, you can study in different ways, you can be autonomous and learn by watching TikToks or YouTube videos or learning content, which is completely fine and valid. I think that it's completely fine and valid. But a college degree gives you another background, other points of views, like a more overall view of the panorama, right? And at the end of the day is what you say, like it's a tool that you have and you won't lose. I mean, the tool is always on your backpack, right? So if you need to use it, you have it, and if you don't need it, that's completely fine, but you have it there, right?
Yeah, you need it. In fact, I have a cousin who just finished her PhD in at Duke, some biology stuff, but there was a lot of data science-y stuff to her PhD. And she's now in the job market and she's struggling a little bit because she's competing for jobs against other PhDs. Like she thought her PhD was going to put her ahead of all the people that just got an undergraduate or even say a graduate degree. But the job market is pretty tough right now. And so, like, if you don't have a PhD for some of these jobs, they're not even talking to you
Yeah,
at
no,
all,
that's true.
right?
That's true. That's true.
It's like, wow. It's like,
Yeah.
wow.
I don't say, or I don't think that it's, or at least from my point of view, it's not mandatory to have like a college degree or study at university and finish a career. I don't think that it's mandatory. I do think that it's a really valuable tool at the moment of competing, to say that in some way. You have that advantage compared to another person that doesn't have it. And that other person, if they don't have a college degree, they need another kind of tool, which it starts to depend on different aspects of your personality, the way on how you are, the proactivity that you have, the autonomy that you have. I mean, I met a lot of people during the many years that I was a developer and worked at different companies. I met a lot of people without a college degree that they were really geniuses. But the thing is that they were geniuses, and you are like, you don't find geniuses walking around the streets every day, right? So,
Well, the thing too is this, right? Like, once you have 10 years of work experience, I think you could get away with not having the degree and companies will talk to you. But I even have a nephew who's like 28 who's got deep into data science and programming, is learning all on his own. Wicked smart. He just, for whatever reason, it didn't, reverse hat. He's one of these geniuses, but not a single company will talk to him right now because I think he doesn't have the degree and almost every job wants it. And now at 28, he doesn't have the other 8 years that he would have been nice to have. Like he's in this horrific hole. So he's finally decided that's it. He's got to go back and he's going to start doing some community college stuff to get the final credits for some things, right? But like, that's it. Now he's got to do this over the next 4 years or there is no opportunity for him anymore. And what's also interesting is that I'm reading lately is that there's basically going to be, this could be as early in the next 3 to 5 years. There's going to be basically two classes of workers, at least in the US. There's going to be those that have the education and are able to do all this AI technology sort of stuff that's happening. But all the blue collar jobs that we know about today go away. And so I think it ends up falling into trades. I have a son who luckily last year finally decided to get into a trade for an electrician. But I don't think the jobs today that are truck driving, warehouse manager, like all of these jobs are on the verge of being gone. And so what do you do when you don't have the degree? Not that you couldn't have gotten it, but you decided not to. And so now there's a whole class of jobs that say you have a degree and you don't have it. You can't have.
Yeah.
And now there's no more what we would call blue collar jobs available because of automation. And it takes 5 years to do a trade because there's education in that too. Like I'm really worried for two groups. The young kids who are graduating high school who don't want to go to college and don't want to go into a trade and are like one of my sons serving tables right now, making good money. But unless he decides to manage the restaurant one day, I don't know what happens. And then I'm worried about the people that are in their 40s, 30s or 40s, still doing blue collar jobs, right? At that point, it's really hard to get into the trade and it's really hard to go back to school. Like, it's just super interesting what's going to happen in the next 5 years.
Yeah. I see what you say, and it's true. I mean, it's uncertainty from my point of view. The truth is that the things are evolving and changing way faster than I was expecting in general, like in the world and in technology in particular. At the time when I started studying at college and informatics and computer science, like there was a lot to do and there was a lot of demand of programmers, of developers, of technical people. And I feel that that's why at that time the people used to decide to work and leave the college because there was a lot of work, right? And right now the market is not that open, or you don't see that many open positions as they used to be in the past because of multiple reasons, right? But the thing is, now it's more difficult. And when it's more difficult, other things start to wait at the moment of making the decisions.
So you stayed at this job for 5 years, right? You're a year out of university. What happened next? I'm always interested in how the next opportunity sort of came to you and sort of like the decision making to sort of take that jump.
So at that time, I was still very young. I was 22. Because I worked at that company for 1.5 years more after graduating, 22 or 23, I think. I had a group of friends from college that we were thinking that when all of us graduated, we wanted to do like a big trip. We wait for one of them that it took him 1 more year to finish college, but we were saving money. And we decided to do a 70 days trip around Europe. Which was an amazing experience, as you can imagine. But the thing is, there was no way that my boss was going to accept that I was disappearing for 70 days, and keeping my chair warm when I'm back. But even if that was the case, the truth is that I didn't want to. I thought that there was like a cycle that was accomplished at that time. I somehow saw at that time that I got to the roof, to the ceiling, right, on what I was going to be able to accomplish there, to learn there, and to experience there. And I said, like, okay, I want to try something new, and I will try something new when I get back from this 70 days trip with my friends. Again, because of the situation at that time, and the truth that there was a lot of offers for developers and for people with my profile, right? So you had the chance, let's say, at that time, or the possibility to say, I will leave my job, and when I decide to look for a new one will appear. Something that I don't think that it's happening right now, or at least not that easy as I saw that. At that time, we are talking of 2013, at that time already. So we went on the trip, and when I got back back home after these 70 days of visiting 20 cities, 30 cities, I really don't remember. I mean, we visited a lot of cities and countries, and it was really cool. But I said, like, okay, I'm going to look for another job, and I found a back-end developer position at a travel insurance company, which is global. I mean, it's not from Argentina, but I started working at that company. The position was okay. I would say I was not super, I don't know, excited about the kind of work that I was doing. So after 6 months, I would say, of working at that company, I was starting to feel, that I would like to look for something that I like more, right? I mean, that I'm enjoying more doing, but the destiny or the fate had something for me at that time. And when I was about to start looking for a new job, the company decided to do some layoffs and to fire a lot of people. And as I was one of the newest members of the team, I was involved on that movement, let's say. So I lost my job at that time.
How did that make you feel? Even though, when you lose a job, regardless of why or how, I mean, it always sort of hurt. It's like a kick in the gut.
Of course.
Yeah, right. Even if you were going to leave anyway. Yeah.
At that time, it was like, I mean, they made it very clear that they fired me because I was the newest member of the team. So, I mean, in terms of, you can imagine, any kind of package that you have when you are leaving a company, or you are invited to leave, let's say, a company, and all the different benefits and all the time that you were working at that company is considered and that. But the thing is, I said, if I'm really valuable for this company, they wouldn't fire me. I mean, I would say, like, they would keep me even if I joined 6 months ago, right? If I'm valuable for them. I would be lying if I say that thought didn't appear on my mind.
Yeah, but sometimes it's just a numbers game, right? Nobody's looking at that. Are you still living at home at this time? Did you go back? You're still living at home?
I live in a house now. Yeah.
No, but I meant at the time that you had that job.
Yeah. No, at that time I was already living alone, I think. Yeah, I mean, at an apartment, but yeah, I was living. I remember that. I went to visit my parents that day because I mean, the message was at 1 p.m. or something like that. So I said, like, hey, are you free to have lunch or something like that? Yeah, why? Well, because I was fired, it's like, if you want to have a chat. Of course, that my parents, that they had another point of view, and it was, the big drama for them because, oh no, I have an unemployed son, But I took it at that same day. I took it really relaxed, to be completely honest, because I started having like interviews 2 days after that happened, right?
Nice.
I was actively planning to look for a new job, and it took me less than a month to get another job, which was really cool. I mean, a good environment, really relaxed, like a really great group of people that I still have contact with. The project was cool, to be honest. That was my first experience working for a company in the States from Argentina. So I needed to use English like consistently every day because I was reporting to people from the States or working with people from the States. So I needed to speak English. I mean, that's when I started to actually use the language, because even though that I had studied English in the past, I really feel that I really learned the language using it every day to work, right?
What year was that? This job was like 2015?
14 at that time.
14. Yeah, I mean, remote work in 2014 was still, I mean, you could do it, but the tooling wasn't there really yet.
Yeah, exactly. So I worked for this company, which, I mean, it had like a physical office in downtown Buenos Aires. I used to go to the office, but we had 1 or 2 days per week of remote work, which was connecting from my home computer to a VPN and connecting to my computer in the office to work there, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't remember exactly what we used. It was not Microsoft Teams. It was previous to Microsoft. It was Skype.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot there yet. Oh, maybe Skype. Yeah.
Yeah, Skype
was
I think
prevalent.
But
So what was the problem you were working on for this company? What were you doing there?
Whoa.
So you remember getting this job because you got fired and you
I was
interviewed.
going to say that. I mean, I don't know. This is man, this is not cool, because I really remember working with an amazing group of people that I still talk to them, and I don't remember exactly what the company did at that, because I mean, this was like I was working for an agency and the agency was working for the customer, right? So
Yeah.
I remember what the agency does and what other customers they had, but the one that I was working for, it was like a gigantic system used for finance, I think.
But were you coding in Java at least, or
At that time, it was Angular and .NET.
front end? Okay.
A little
.NET
bit of
Angular.
everything. Yeah, Angular and
that's cool.
.NET. Yeah.
And how long were you there? You couldn't have been there very long.
No, that's true. I spent 1 year there, but because a cool challenge appeared, another friend from my previous job called me and told me, "Hey man, look, I'm working fully remote from home for a company based in Austin in the United States. I mean, the pay is cool, but I mean, what is cooler is that you can work from home, that you can work with flexible times, that you are working on a really cool project, and that you are working directly with a team in the United States, right? Probably what I'm telling to you right now, it's, you say like, what's the big deal, right? But you have to imagine that, I mean, from working like, I don't know, 7 years or 6 years in different Argentinian companies with Argentinian people, in South America, you see the access to American companies as a big deal, right? Like, you live in Miami, right? So you probably have Microsoft offices, like, I don't know. I imagine that there are Microsoft offices in
I don't know
Miami,
if Microsoft has an office here, but there's a lot of enterprise here, big finance here.
Big enterprise companies. So working from Argentina for an American company, it's opening like a door to something new, to other possibilities, right?
Plus, even if they're paying you half their rates, it's still more than what you can usually get from South American companies.
That's the other thing. Yeah, I don't want to enter into politics discussions or economy discussions, but you can imagine where this is coming from. And the truth is that the flexibility of working, like, I mean, with the times that I wanted, let's say, but especially working from where I wanted, and I will double click here. It was really, really compelling to me, and it was really interesting. The project was really cool, and working with my friends was like a real motivation, right? I love traveling. Like, I love going to different places, as you can imagine. I mean, if I left my job for a 70 days trip, you can imagine that I like traveling. I like traveling to different countries, to different cities in Argentina and everything. The idea of grabbing a laptop and working from anywhere, instead of having to commute 1.5 hours to the downtown of Buenos Aires, because I still lived in the suburbs at that time, was like,
especially 10 years ago. But look, my company, we hire a lot of people from Brazil. I find the Brazilian engineers are really excellent. And we don't
have a lot of Brazilian engineers at Storyblok now.
Yeah, they're really good. But I'm full front. I'm like honest with all of them, right? Like, they know they're being paid less than their U.S. counterparts. They know they're just as good as their U.S. counterparts. But they also understand that this is how the economy works right now. And they're still making great money and living in like Brazil. Like, I don't hide it to anybody. This is just the way it is. But I think it's a win-win-win for everybody too, because they're capable of taking lower rates. There's more opportunity for them to be supplementing teams, right? Like, I don't think it's not political. It's just, this is the way the world works. And one day that might change, but right now this is the way it is.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, I would be lying if I say that, I mean, the company that I was working before, they hire Argentinian developers just because they were more professional or better than the American developers, right? I mean, that was not the only reason, of course. But to be completely fair, I mean, the cost of living in Argentina at that time and somehow still now is cheaper than living in Austin or even more in San Francisco or New York, let's say. So, I mean, if your cost of living is lower than the person that is working from the States, at a certain point, it kind of makes sense that you don't have the same salary of a person living on a city that is really expensive to live in, right?
No, but that gives you the advantage. So
yeah, of course.
If you can do that for $50 an hour and you're going to live like a king, right?
Exactly.
There's no reason to ask for more because that's what's opening up all these. And you're just as good of an engineer as what they're going to have to pay $100 an hour for, right? That's your competitive advantage at that point. And you're not, plus I try to tell everybody this, and my dad said this, and when you're a kid and your dad tells you stuff, you don't think about it, but it's never how much you're earning, it's how much you save.
Well,
Okay?
that's
You could make $1 million and have 10 left at the end of the year, and I can make 100,000 and save 60 of it. Like, who did better this year?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you have a few fancier toys than I do, but
yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I mean, it's important to I don't know, probably those are different points of view, but the way that I see it is you have to think that it's possible that at a certain point of your life you will be on a different situation than the one that you are today, and you have to think a little bit about it. I don't say that you have to stop doing things that you love because of thinking on the future, but you have to imagine that at a certain point, because of multiple reasons, your situation can be different than the one that you are today, and you have to be a little bit prepared, I would say.
How many people lost salaries, not fired, had to take salary reductions after COVID and during COVID because they left the more expensive city? And so I'm always trying to teach my kids too, right? You got to live within a certain percentage of the money that's coming in, and you can't go over that no matter what. It doesn't matter because, just like you said, everything could, the market could decide that you're only worth half of what you're worth now. And what are you going to do? You can't afford to pay your monthly. Yeah. But I've met a lot of kids who I have no problem with somebody saying, I left this job to go to this job because there was more money. The industry, at least in the States, has made it such that if you want to make more money, you have to leave. It is ridiculous to me. I tell everybody that works for me, come and talk to me before, because I don't play the game that you have an offer letter. And I'm like, good, you decided to do that before you talk to me? I support it. Go have fun. Like, we're done, right?
Yeah.
So if you come to me first and say, I need more money because I just had a house or just had a baby, or I just had this or that, I'm going to do everything I can to get you that to the extent that I can. If I can, I'll help you find the next job.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
But the industry has turned this into, you're never going to get more than 10% no matter what. So it's all about what you come in at, not what you can get after. And you have to leave to get the money. It's sad.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I also think that at a certain point, if you get to the, I mean, we're talking about jobs which are in a good position, let's say. I mean, at that time, I already had like 10 years of experience. For this American company that is based in Austin, I worked for 6 years. At that time, I had
wow.
like
6 years.
I had a really good relationship. It was a lot of time. Yeah, it was a lot of time.
So you worked for them all through COVID too then? Because you were there like, what, 15?
So I
15
left
through 21?
Yeah, I left on 2021. COVID was still a little bit a thing in Argentina on 2021. But I left I worked until mid-2021 at this company. I was a backend developer. I was managing a team of developers too. Before COVID, we had the chance to go to the offices in Austin, to visit Austin, a few times, like 4 or 5 times. We did some kind of an end of the year, celebration and everything, which was really cool because
Were you managing South American resources and had a team in Argentina, or you had resources
No, it
sort of
was fully
everywhere?
remote. Fully remote. Yeah.
But you
At that
grew.
time, it was people from the States. I'm from Argentina.
You see how cool that is? You got a job from South America, right? And I would again imagine, because your rate was going to be smaller at the time, and you grew to a place where you were actually leading and managing people even from inside the US. Like, to
Yeah.
me, that's a huge, like, I get chills thinking about that, because
No, of course, and I get them too, and I got them at that time, right? And that's why probably you are on the rush of living, let's say, and you don't fully realize what's happening, but it's insane, and kind of it, like, how to say, it got even, how to say, bigger or more powerful when I moved to my next work or job, which is Storyblok. I mean, the company that I'm working
okay,
at
but
right now.
but like, you're there for 6 years, you're in a strong leadership position. I imagine as well, I'd like to imagine that your salary became measurable to at least
was
some
cool,
level, right? In the States. It's a really great sort of situation. So what happens that makes you decide to, like, how does the next thing come across your desk? What makes you decide to even entertain something? Because you're in such a great place right now.
Yeah, I agree, and that's where I connect with what I was saying before. That, I mean, when I was studying and at college, and besides, like, developing, I always love to do, like, things to connect to other people and to I mean, to engage with other people in different ways. I used to have a podcast with friends. I used to have a radio show with friends. 3 radio shows. I participated on 3 different radio shows. Um, I used to write articles and blog posts and even short tales with friends. I always try to do things apart from developing, let's say, from being a developer. And I don't know if it was COVID or what, but I mean, another thing that I really loved to do at that time was to attend meetups, like local meetups in Buenos Aires, technology meetups, but meetups to meet people, to talk about, like, technology with other people, to make new friends. But most importantly, and this is, of course, that this is not the remote work's fault, but that's what I felt at that time. My remote job at that time had multiple advantages compared to my previous job. The only thing that the remote job was not able to fulfill was the social need that I had to spend time with other people. One thing that I always tell, or I used to tell at that time, because I mean, I started being a remote worker before COVID, right? So I was before the wave. I was already used to that, right? When other people went home and started working from home on 2020, I was like, man, I've been doing this for 4 years now. So what are you? I mean, I'm a senior remote worker, right? So, but one thing that I always insist to the people that was evaluating or thinking on a remote position is look for something that force you to engage with other people and to meet other people, because if not, you will completely disconnect from reality, right? I think that magical things happen when you are meeting with other people, when you are engaging with other people, when you are connecting with other people. Nobody is improving as a person if you are alone at home in front of a computer and that's it, right? This is completely, I mean, it's my point of view. While I was being a developer and a manager at this company, I started to write articles for the developer community, engage with members from the developer community on Discord, on Twitter. I started to connect with people from the States, from Europe. I started to deliver talks at different events and meetups, local meetups. During COVID, I started delivering talks, like technology talks, at virtual events that happen. I mean, this is something that it was like, a deal breaker for me. Not like it was an impact, because I was delivering a talk at a conference that was organized by a group of people from Australia, let's say Poland, South Africa. You know, I was connecting to people from South Africa or from Poland, delivering a talk at their local virtual meetup or their local event, which used to be an in-person event or an in-person meetup before COVID, but I was delivering a talk for them, right? So I started meeting a lot of people, engaging with a lot of people. Of course, that then the contact was through Twitter, Discord, different social networks, but I started to meet all these people, delivering talks, writing articles, connected with them, working on open source projects, collaborating with community initiatives, with development. All of that besides my full-time job as a backend developer and a team manager. I don't remember the day exactly, but one of these person that I met and a few more after that, they mentioned that they were developer relations engineers at their company, which has another name, which is developer evangelist or developer advocate. Depending on the company, they have different names. I was like, what is a developer relations engineer? Well, basically, it's like the connection between the developers from the community and the users of a technical product or a technical platform with the company that is creating and maintaining that project, right? So you are the link between the developers creating the product and the developers using the product. And you engage, you create or generate this link in different ways, like sharing feedback from one side or the other, writing articles, tutorials, technical documentation, delivering workshops, delivering sessions, delivering talks at events, etc., etc., etc. Engaging on the community, Discord, Twitter, etc., connecting with them, listening to them, telling them, etc. And I was like, that's what you do and you get paid for that? And they were like, yeah, that's my full-time job, I was like, but you're kidding me. I want to do that, that's what I want to do. And I met one developer relations engineer, another developer relations engineer. I was engaging on the community at that time, learning a lot about Jamstack, headless, API first, Next.js, React, Gatsby at that time, everything, until I came up with this announcement. I think it was a tweet that said, Storyblok is looking for developer relations engineers. I already knew Storyblok because I used it for a personal project and learning about this Jamstack and new technologies and everything. I was like, this is my chance, And that's how I joined Storyblok as a developer relations engineer.
Wow. But you're not doing that now.
No, I'm not.
No, but you did. So you got that job in 2021.
Yes.
So between that and 4 years later,
what happened?
No. Yeah. What's your title again there now?
Yeah, I'm a solutions engineering team manager.
Okay. So tell me that journey from starting. So DevRel to me is a great opportunity for a company if they put the right person there.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that what happens is they put kids, I'm going to use the word kids, that come out of university and put them in these roles. And they just don't have the experience. They don't really have the experience on the tech to talk to people who are much more senior than they are. And they don't have the communication skills yet. They don't have anything that they really need. And it just sort of falls apart. When you can find somebody with 10, 15 plus years of experience in the industry, in that tech, who wants to do that role, it becomes magical. Because they can relate and have a respected conversation with the people and the companies they're trying to help. But it's hard to find people. You almost need to find people near the end of their career who don't want to do the day-to-day anymore or be responsible for production systems anymore and sort of want to do that job. But like what were the challenges that you had doing? How long did you do the DevRel? And what were your biggest challenges?
Yeah, I think that you have a point. I won't be humble for a few seconds right now. But I do recognize, or I do think that I have good social skills. I like engaging with people, and I think that I do it well. I think that I can get along with people and talk to people, and that's something that I always like to do. Even if my like job position didn't require that. I mean, when you are a backend developer and you are solving Jira tickets, or call it as you prefer, you don't really need to have this. You don't really need to be talking to people or be sympathetic, right? Or be the cool guy that you are talking to. But I like to be that. I like to do that, and I enjoy doing that, right? In addition to that, I had, as I said, a college degree, more than 10 years of experience as a developer. So I think that I brought a certain set of tools to the table that made me a good fit for that position. And in addition to that, I think that the cool thing that happened to me was that I was looking for that, right? I mean, I wanted to do that. So I was really energetic at that time, and I was super motivated to go and do it. When I joined Storyblok, the company had 30 people. That was all the company, 30 people. Now we are almost 300, I think. But at that time we were 30 people. I mean, I don't know if you have worked on a company of that size. I mean, 30 people, but you can imagine that everyone has to do everything, a little bit of everything. Like you are even, especially in a position where the kind of work that you are requested to do or you are asked to do is not measurable in a way of how many Jira tickets you are closing per week, right? If that's not your job, or your job is not measured in that way, you do a little bit of everything. And that's what we used to do at that time. I engaged with multiple areas from the company, like marketing, design, technical documentation, the website team, like operations. We did a lot. We did a lot of things. And for a couple of years, it was like that. The company grew a lot in 2022 and 2023 too. But I mean, we still had that spirit of doing a little bit of everything, right? And we had, by that time, we had a team of developer relations engineers, and we were many people or several people doing the same. I mean, in addition to the motivation of doing all these tasks, another thing that motivated me to join Storyblok, and that I still enjoy, connecting to what I was saying before, is that I love traveling. I had the possibility to travel to a lot of developer conferences and events during the last few years, representing Storyblok in multiple ways, like being a speaker at the stage, having a booth sponsoring the event, participating, delivering a workshop. I mean, different ways of participating of these events. But I had the chance to, and this is probably where the most magical things happen, right? Which is I was able to travel to the States, to a developer conference, which I never had the possibility of doing before COVID, because you don't really spend that amount of money to travel from Argentina to the States to go to a developer conference. Like, in addition to the ticket that you have to pay for the conference, the accommodation, the flight, and everything. So I was able to travel to the States to meet all these people that I knew from connecting in the community online, and they were like, "Hey, Facundo, how are you? Nice to see you in person." I was like, I'm hugging a person from Germany, like that I was talking to this guy for the last 2 years or something like that. And they are speaking to you like they knew you for 10 years now. So we did a lot. I delivered a lot of talks. I had the chance to go to events and conferences in multiple different cities in the United States. I mean, Kansas City, Salt Lake City.
So what changed? You got burned out and you're like, I can't do this anymore.
To move to my current position.
Yeah.
So, I mean, between the many things on the plate that we had when we were developer relations engineers, at that time at Storyblok, the DevRel used to also provide technical support during the whole sales process. We were supporting the sales team to be the technical guy or the technical person that is supporting you when you are having conversations with a potential customer, a prospect, a customer that needs help or support implementing Storyblok. And that was part of our job. I imagine that I was doing a good job on that area, because Storyblok proposed me to split part of the developer relations engineering team at Storyblok and create a separate and dedicated team of solutions engineers that we are going to focus on that area to provide support during the pre and post sale process to the potential customers, the customers that are acquiring Storyblok, help with implementation, best practices, sharing insights, but also doing technical demonstrations to people that is evaluating a CMS for their project to help them to understand how Storyblok could help them on their needs, on their projects, on their websites, right? And again, speaking to people, right? Which is, I mean, part of the job as a DevRel was to create, I mean, besides speaking to people at these events, I was writing content, writing articles, and there were people from the team that preferred to do that instead of jumping on a call with a potential customer and delivering, you know, a technical demonstration for someone that is evaluating CMSs. I honestly enjoy doing that, and I still like doing that. And I think that at that time, Storyblok proposed me to create this team and to be the manager of this team. This was like October 2023. So it's been almost 2 years that we created this solutions engineering team at Storyblok. And basically what we are doing is improving the processes, the workflows, the way on how we are collaborating and partnering with the different members from the different teams to create this, to provide this technical support to create a good impact and deliver a good experience to the people that is already using Storyblok or that is evaluating Storyblok for their projects.
So what I'm curious about in this role that you have is, how are you keeping up with product changes? Are you involved in any of the engineering side to even know what's coming, early release? Like, there's a lot of work there. So talk to me about how you make sure, because there's a lot of work when you first came in, because it's a product you've never seen before. You got to get up to speed on that. You got to play with it. My guess is the work you did to learn the product became talks around that. And you also got to learn what that first user experience is and improve it.
Yeah.
And you lose that over time, which is sad, right? It's really hard to hold on to that. But how are you and your team keeping up with the changes that are coming out for release so you can be prepared to communicate that and help your customers?
Yeah, sure. That's a very good point, actually. I think that there are two aspects related to that. One of them is the profile of people that we have at Storyblok on the solutions engineering team. I mean, some of them were DevRels that moved to a solutions engineer position. And being a DevRel, you need a technical background. You need a developer background, right? So at that time, we had technical people with this preference or this, with the task or the responsibility of communicating to other people about these technical aspects or technical topics. So one thing is the kind of profile that we have right now at the solutions engineering team is technical people with these skills to engage on the sales process, let's say, engage with different stakeholders like technical people, non-technical people, to be able to communicate about Storyblok, the features, but also the technical aspects on how to implement this Storyblok on a project. Another thing that it also influences this is the way on how the solutions engineering team was created and the way on how it's structured as part of the organization right now makes us to be closer to the product division and the product team because, again, we are developers, we are technical, and the solutions engineering team at Storyblok is part of the product division. So for the company, we are part of the product division, therefore we are technical people, let's say. So we are involved in discussions or sessions where the roadmap is discussed, where the roadmap is presented, where the new features are presented or introduced before launching them in public. I feel that at Storyblok, the solutions engineering team has a technical phase, I would say, right? A technical approach, I would say.
You know what I'm actually interested in? Like, I'm glad they put you in the meetings and I'm glad that you get to participate in that. But my guess is you and your team are the ones that have a lot of knowledge on what is lacking, what the customers want. So do you what is the process for you to be able to suggest that? And do they listen to you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, luckily at Storyblok, the solutions engineers are like a trust source of feedback and insights from the conversations that we have, not only with the customers that are using the product and that are implementing the platform on their projects, but also, I mean, we are the ones that we are seeing if we win or we lose a new customer, right? And how that is influencing what is missing on the product or what our competitors are offering, let's say. So the truth is that we have like a direct connection with some members from the product team at Storyblok, and our voice is heard, like when we are sharing feedback, when we are sharing points of views, when we are sharing insights. We do have some internal processes or systems, let's say, on how we are managing, let's say, the feature requests and how we are prioritizing them and connecting them to the opportunities that they are representing, right? I mean, who is asking for that? Which deal we lost because we didn't have this or that, or which strategic customer is asking for this because it would improve their process a lot. So we came up with a proper process where all of that is managed, and the solutions engineers are a good part of that process.
Do you like this role because it's not a pure engineering role? It's a business, almost a product manager business. I mean, it's an important role in any product company. Are you enjoying this role? Is this like a great role for you? Are you ever considering you want to get back into more engineering? I'm just kind of curious where your head is with this role.
Yeah.
It's not where you started. Like, I know the DevRel was cool because you love talking to people. I could tell you're very social and you need that. But like, it's not an engineering position per se, right?
No, it's not. It's not. And that's true. I think that at a certain point of my career, I was trying to do something a little bit outside of actually coding. You know, I wanted to be dealing with people. You know, I wanted to be engaging with people. DevRel was amazing at that time, and I really enjoy it. And I think that I still keep a little bit of that DevRel soul, let's say. Actually, I was mentioning React Miami before. React Miami in April, I delivered a talk this year and last year and the year before and the year before. So I was still speaking about technology at the stage on this developer conference, and that's something that I enjoy. And being a solutions engineer, I mean, solutions engineer team manager, I had the possibility, and I still have the possibility of not only engaging with people and talking to people, talking to developers, implementing a Storyblok, or developers evaluating platforms for their projects. But in addition to that, I have the possibility of organizing and managing a team of, luckily, amazing people. We have a team of solutions engineers at Storyblok that they have different backgrounds, they have different points of view, but they are really great people. I mean, I recognize that, I see that, and there's people at the company that they keep saying that to me, and that confirms what I feel and what I think about the team that I manage. And the truth is that I enjoy doing that. I enjoy working with great people that is like generating impact for the company.
Are you also building any sort of custom solutions or plugins for customers? So there is some dev coming out of your department then?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, a little bit. Not my case, because you can imagine that I'm probably busy doing other things. But the solutions engineers are kind of coming with some proof of concepts or MVPs or integrations, and we develop some satellite small projects around Storyblok, let's say. Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm kind of curious, right? You've been here for 4 years,
4
right?
years.
4 years. Okay. What is the next step for you in your career, right? You're leading this product team, really, right? You're helping with product, which is an important role. But like, what's next? Like, if you were to look at where would you like to be in the next 3 sort of 5 years? Is it just climbing the ladder of this career that you're on now? Like, I'm just curious. I don't know this. Like, I've met a bunch of people like you, and they're all impressive, but I just don't know what that ladder looks like.
I see. Yeah. That's a very good question, to be honest. The truth is that I enjoy the work that I have right now, and I enjoy doing it. As you can see from all the story that I was telling you during this time, you see that I'm not changing jobs from one year to the other. So if I settle down on a job and I enjoy doing it and I feel comfortable and I feel that I'm generating impact on what I'm doing, I'm completely fine to do that, and I'm happy with that, and I enjoy doing that, right? I do think that, like, with my experience with studying at college computer science, being a developer for several years, and moving between different positions like DevRel, managing a team, solutions engineers, I got a set of tools, and I learned things that are providing me to be able to face challenges of different natures, to be honest. At this point, the just to give you an example, but the solutions engineering team at Storyblok is growing considerably. I don't know, probably creating like a different structure of solutions engineer positions, and having a different type of managing on this team, or having a more strategic position at the company at Storyblok. As I said, when I joined the company, we were 30 people and we were doing a little bit of everything. But when you are working at the company with 300 employees or 500 employees, the responsibilities and the work that you do needs to be a little bit more fragmented and a little bit more specific, right? Because you need to do a lot of that. So, you can't have a person that is doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You need a person that does that, and you need another person to do the other thing, right? I don't know, probably that's going to open other doors to explore other positions at Storyblok, closer to sales, closer to product.
I imagine, though, that you've seen over the last 4 years, things slow down because of people and process, right? And
Yes.
Sometimes what happens is you started in the beginning where you were able to move fast. Now things are moving slow. That gets frustrated. I wonder in the next few years if you don't end up getting pulled into some startup where you want that fever pitch again. Like, I want to move faster. I want to cycle faster.
To be honest, like, sometimes I wonder that, like, why is this taking this amount of time if when we were 30 people, it was moving way faster, right? It's true that the probably you see that, but on the other hand, if we see the volume of work that we are generating and the volume of responsibilities that you have when you have 300 people, you see that you need to do other things, right? When you have 300 people at the company, the process to request X, it can't be send a Slack.
Well, you also have
Facundo
more
asked for it,
customers, right? Like,
Exactly,
you have a
that's my point.
responsibility to be more stable.
Of
than
course.
you ever have been. Yeah.
The amount of or the number of potential customers that we are talking to nowadays doesn't compare to the number of potential customers that we used to deal with when we were 30 people or 40 people, right? So you need more workforce for that. So yeah,
You need more process. You need more policy. You need more.
Well, that the cool thing is that we are on that part of the process, I would say, at Storyblok, and it's really, it's cool, and it's like a good motivation that we are defining or improving these processes, these workflows. We are setting up some rules of engagements, let's say, between the different teams. That's something that I really enjoy doing, and I feel it's cool.
So here's the $1 million question: what CMS do you use to do your job?
What's it? Sorry.
What CMS are you using? You get to dog food your product too, right?
We do that, of course.
Yeah,
if you go to storyblok.com, that website is powered using Storyblok, right? So that is happening.
Yeah.
We do
Well,
because I mean, on the other hand, if we are going to talk to the customers on how to better use the platform or what are the best practices on how to use the platform, I have to experience that from first hand, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You gotta. I think it's not impossible to build a product that you don't necessarily need and use every day. I just think it's 10,000 times harder to solve those problems. People have done it. I've never been successful in doing that, but people have done it. But when it's something you need, it's just always, I don't know. I'm not going to say better, but
no, and not only something that you need. I think it's something that you believe in, especially if you are a solutions engineer. Imagine that I have to jump on calls to show the platform to people that is evaluating CMSs, and I have to, speaking fast, let's say I'm wrong, I have to sell the product. I mean, I have to convince them that Storyblok is the best choice for their needs. How can I do that if I don't believe on the product that we are creating?
Yeah, I could hear it in your voice immediately if you were not.
I mean, you can see that what I'm telling you is not genuine if I don't believe on the product, right?
Yeah. All right, man. We are completely out of time here, but this was it's a really interesting story where you were just sort of heads down engineering. You went to a heads down engineering school. You were coding and developing solutions, and then when that DevRel sort of bug hit, you were like, yeah, this is what I really wanted to be doing. I want to be out there, be socializing with engineers and not be hidden behind a desk all day necessarily. It's interesting you found that, and it's interesting to see where that took you now into this role. But it'll be super interesting to see where you are 5 years from now.
We can organize a follow up episode for now in 5 years, and we see.
If you ever you get a new position or change jobs, you got to ping me.
Yeah, there we go.
I want to hear the next part of the story now.
There we go. I will do that.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. If anybody wanted to reach out to you, and we'll add it to the show notes, what's the best way for people to reach out if they had some questions?
Sure. I mean, if they look for my name on LinkedIn, they will find me, Facundo Giuliani. There are not too many people with this name. Facundo.giuliani at gmail.com. That's my personal email. fg@storyblok.com, my work email.
How do you pronounce the company's name?
It's Storyblok.
So STROB.
Storyblok, but all the people will imagine that block goes with C and K at the end, but it's only the K. It's Storyblok. STORYBLOK.com. Sorry.
Okay, we'll get that in the show notes too.
Yeah.
All right, man. Sorry.
No. I was going to say that. Yeah, I mean they can contact me there. I think that's probably the easiest way.
Brilliant. All right. This is the Ardan Labs Podcast signing off, and Facundo and Bill. We hope to see everybody again real soon.